What's up YouTube, I'm back with another great tutorial, and today I want to show you my kick guide because some of you asked me how to find or how to build the perfect kick, and we've been all at that point where the topic kick is so overwhelming because there are so much information out there. Some people do it like this, some people do it like that, and today I want to give you my opinion and my methods of that topic. And at the end I have a Christmas gift for you as a thank you for the support. We reached over 100 subscribers in 1 month. If you like this kind of content, make sure you follow me on my socials, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and now let's jump into the project. So the first topic I want to cover is kick tuning, because when I started producing, this was a topic that often comes up, and a lot of producers say it's very important to do kick tuning, and it is, but not for every genre, and especially not for a fast BPM genre like trance and techno. But sometimes when your kick comes with a lot sub information, the note can be hearable, and then you need to tune your kick with the bass. But anyways, you should always use your ears for that. But if you don't trust your ears, and I know sometimes you can't trust your ears anymore, I want to show you how you can detect if your kick has a tonal information, and I want to show you how you can detect which note your kick is playing. So I loaded a short and the long kick in my project. We are at 147 BPM. Let's hear the short kick. So how do I know if I need to tune that kick or not? At first I would compare it to my bass line. We can test this real quick with a simple offbeat bass line. And now I change the note and I'm listening to it if it feels wrong or not. So as you can hear, the kick is so short that it's unimportant which note the sub is playing in, because the kick is so short that it's more a percussive sound than a tonal sound. But if you're not sure if it's really unnecessary to tune the kick, you can load in the Ableton's tuner, and the Ableton tuner will show up notes here if your kick is long enough to detect a note. So let's test that. And as you can see, the tuner has no impact. So it's a good sign that your kick is too short and it's more a percussive kick, and you don't need to tune the kick to your bass. So let's test the long kick, if the tuner is detecting a note here. Oh yes. As you can see, the tuner detecting notes because the subtail is a bit longer and the tuner has enough time to detect a note in the sub. But as you can see, the tuner is just moving from high pitch to low pitch because your kick is nothing else than a pitched sub bass. You can't really say which note it actually is. So what we need to do now to detect which note the kick is playing, we need to find out which frequency in the sub bass is the most dominant and most present. So I loaded in a frequency analyzer, and this one is for free. The name is Span. And if I play the kick, we are looking for the loudest frequency in the kick. So as you can see, the highest point here is at A1. You see it up here. So this kick has a tune in A1. So do we now get the problem with our offbeat bass line with this kick? Of course, our kick is now clashing with the bass. So shorten it a bit up. And now let's do the same test as with the kick before. This should be the same note as the kick. Sounds good. For me, this kick also sounds good. And that's probably because we are in a very high BPM range and our ears are not able to detect if our kick plays a different note than the bass. And if you ask me, it's not a problem to have a different key of your kick, because with that you can avoid a muddy low end. Because when your kick plays an A and your bass line plays an A, it's more easy that you can destroy your mix, because you may mix your kick and your bass too much inside of each other. And if you don't control that right, you get a flat low end with the same note, and the listener can't feel the groove you want to achieve. So sometimes it's even better to have a slightly detuned kick, to have a gap in the frequency spectrum, and it's easier to mix, and the listener can hear the kick and the bass separately and has a more groovy feeling in the track. The next topic I want to talk about is recreating a kick with an already existing track, and I want to show you the free Ableton way and the way with the kick synthesizer like Kick 3. I loaded in my reference track here, and I used a very busy part to show you it even works with a part where the instruments are still playing. But if you want to have the best outcome, you should search a part of the track where only the kick is playing. But this is not so hard to find because in our genre, the track starts with a kick pattern or ends with a kick pattern, and only drums or without drums. So this is the reference track where I want to recreate the kick from, and the track sounding like this. So the first thing we need to do here is to cut out the kick as long as possible. The bass line starts here. So I take this part and then we duplicate the track 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Delete the rest here. And we keep the first layer to have a reference of our kick. So what we do now is we're going to split the kick into 3 parts, 1 low frequency part, 1 mid frequency part, and 1 high frequency part. And if we do that, we have controls over each frequency, and then we can take out the unnecessary frequencies of the drums or of the synths or of the bass. So let's start to load an EQ8 on every channel. And let's start with the first channel. We do a steep high cut on 200 Hz on the first layer, and on the second layer a low cut at 200 Hz, and again a high cut at 2000 Hz. For the third layer we do a low cut with 2000 Hz. So now our kick should sound exactly like the reference. And now the reference. Yeah, so as you can hear, it sounds exactly safe, but we have control over each frequency now. And now we listen to each channel solo, and then we decide on which frequency we need to cut out the high frequencies. So the first layer, and most of the time the sub layer is not the problem because we only have the low frequencies where the kick is playing. The mid-range frequency, yes, and here you can hear I do a little fade out here and then shorten up the mid-range. So we have that click sound here, and the high frequency. Here you can hear the hi-hat. We don't want that. Now we listen to all layers together, and it's already start sounding like a normal kick. So when you like your kick, you can compare it to the original. When you're happy with your kick, you can resample it on a new layer. And be careful if you have still auto fade enabled, your Ableton will do a little fade in for each new track, but you can turn it off here. So our final kick looks like this and sounds like this. So now we do the same thing with the Kick 3, but with one difference. The Kick 3 is a kick synthesizer that can re-synthesize a kick by drag in a kick sample. And that's why you have a lot more controls of the final kick you're recreating. So let's open Kick 3 and drag in the track you want the kick from. Click on Analyze, and now Kick 3 gives you 5 different options, all for different use cases. I choose Accurate here because it's a higher precision algorithm for more accurate capture with increased pitch notes. That's what we want. So Analyze and Import. And here you can see Kick 3 generated a sine wave, and this is the pitch that Kick 3 detected your kick is playing in. So if you solo your sub part, it sounds like this. And then the Kick 3 generates the click sound of the kick. And this one will now contains all the information from the real track. So basically we're doing the same thing of the method 1, and we're lowering the volume of the tail of the click sound. And you can do this here with dragging the amplitude. And the cool thing here is you can now make the kick really your own and changing, for example, the pitch to create different notes, or you can change the amplitude of certain frequencies to make it more punchy. Or changing the length of your kick to a more shortened one. Or a more longer one. You can load up more click sounds. And of course you can play around with the amplitude again. And as always in music production, you have infinity ways to load effects to the clicks or load effects to the sub and EQ things, import your own click sounds. So the ways are endless. And this is why I can highly recommend to get used to Kick 3. And yeah, this was my short kick guide. I hope it helped you a lot. And now I have a present for you guys for all the support. We reached over 100 followers. And matching with our topic today, I created a basic trance template with 5 kick samples, 5 clap samples, 5 hi-hat samples, and 5 head loop samples, recorded and recreated by myself. And the drums are basically original 909 sounds. Template is perfect for you if you want a quick song start or just started with a melody and you need quick drums and a bass line or a kick to continuing the creative process. This is why this template is so strong. And let me show you what is possible with this template. So in each track you have a sample selector and you can switch through each sample. If you like to have a kick and a bass as a foundation to play a melody over it, you can load in the template and start with kick and bass. Select your sample you like and then starting to playing a melody on top of it. And then you can also add drum sounds. If you already have chords in your project, you can change the notes of the bass line. Or if you just want to have the bass line, you drag in the bass line in your project and you get the MIDI notes. And you can directly have the bass line. Same thing for the kick. If you want to have both, you can drag both. And you directly have a starting point for your next project. So as a big thank you for all my subscribers, I give that away for free for the rest of the year. So click in the link on the description to grab the template. And that's it with the video. As always, I hope you learned something new. If you have questions or feedback, leave it in the comment section. Make sure you follow me on my socials, hit the subscribe button, and see you in the next one.